Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 235 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit and crochet, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, November 30th. How is it already the end of the second last month of the year? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's a gorgeous day out today. It's cold, bright blue skies, windy, but it's a gorgeous day out. I'm just getting over, I had a cold last week. I still have a little bit of a tickle in my throat and a little bit of cough and runny nose every once in a while, but I'm fine otherwise. So it's late today. It's 20 after 4. My light is not very good anymore. I'm trying to get a few curtains open here and trying to get a little bit of light coming in the room. I need to buy myself some lights for filming. I really do. And my hair is super staticky. So fly away, so staticky. 'Tis the season. Anywho, if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by to see what my channel's all about. I hope you enjoy it here and stick around. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what kind of shenanigans I've been up to. I'm so happy to have you here with me week after week. I'm just so happy to have any and all of you here to spend some time with me. Love it. If you have not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my little channel. It helps me immensely. And like the video, comment. It helps with all the YouTube algorithm stuff so that more people have a chance to see what kind of shenanigans I'm up to. So if you've been sticking around the channel for a while, you know for the last week and a little bit, I've been doing my Whip It Down week. It's been going fantastically. We're back home now. We were away for the most of the week. We left on Monday and just came back. We've only been home for about maybe an hour. Yeah, it was about 3:15 when we got home. So we've not been home for long. I thought I want to get this filmed quickly and get it posted today. I know I've done my I know I've been doing my regular daily vlog style videos, but I wanted to get this video up because not all of you are watching or do watch or want to watch the vlog kind of ones. And they maybe aren't quite vlog ones. They're just me kind of nattering a little bit and showing you what I've worked on. That's about it. I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm drinking tea. And I'm switching to my sort of Christmassy mugs now. So, got a nice hot cup of tea. So if you've not been watching, if you haven't been watching the vlog kind of things, the Whip It Down week things, I have a bunch of finished objects. Well, not a bunch. I've got 3 finished objects to show you. Got a whole stack of finished objects. The first one I have is this little giant granny square blanket. And that's just showing both sides, or here's the other side of it. So this is a blanket I made for a friend of mine. My shirt kind of matches it. This is a little blanket I made for a friend of mine for one of her daughters. I will be making a couple more because she has 2 daughters now and she has a 3rd one on the way, due in the beginning of February. So I want to make a second one for the 2nd daughter, and then I'll make another one for the 3rd daughter. I'd like to get this one is done. I'd like to get the 2nd one done in time for Christmas so that I can give them to her for Christmas time, and then I'll get the other one to her in the first half of January. So she has all 3 of them. So I did that using the pink is Vanna's Choice yarn in the colorway Rose Mist. I used 3 7-ounce balls of yarn plus a 3-ounce skein of yarn in the Vanna's Choice, and the cream is some Karen Simply Soft in Off-White, I think was the colorway. Yeah, Off-White was the colorway for that. So the first one for my friends girls is ready. I'm going to get started on the next one soon. They don't take me a whole long time to make. I find crochet quite quick. So they don't take me an awful lot of time to make, but I just need to decide on the yarn and get cracking on the second one. So my second and third finished objects are my 2 pair of Christmas socks. I had done these using West Yorkshire Spinners yarn in the colorway. I'll put them on blockers in just a moment. The this one is in the colorway Robin. This one is in the colorway Candy Cane. And I did these two at a time, toe up sort of shorty style, but I did one of each and then I did the second of each. I probably, if possible, will not do them that way again. I found that it seemed like it took longer to do the 2 pair than if I had done these 2 than these 2. Might have just been a psychological thing, and maybe it didn't make it, it was the exact same amount of time. It felt like it took longer. And it was almost like I had second sock syndrome times 2. Because once I got the first one of these done, I wasn't as inclined to get started on the second 2 for each pair. Might just be a psychology thing with my own little brain. I don't know, but but they're done. So that was the second project I finished during my Whip It Down week. And I'm so happy to have these guys off the needles as well. I do have another pair of socks that I've started. I will show you those in a couple minutes. First up, oh boy, my English language is failing on me here. Not good. English is my only language. Not good. So here's the first pair. Oh, Little Elephant's active. So here's the first pair. They are pretty darn close to matching. Not quite, but pretty darn close. I tried to start them both at the same point, but I think my tension might have changed a little bit because they do line up for a while and then they kind of go a little bit wonky once we get to the heel. Not sure why they go different by the time I get to the heel. I must have been knitting either a little bit looser or a little bit tighter on one of them. That's perfectly fine. They both fit. So there you go. First pair, another pair of Christmas socks from my box of Christmas socks. These again are West Yorkshire Spinners in the colorway Robin. And let me get the second pair onto the blockers. See if I can do this without smacking myself in the head with something. Ears itchy. Yeah, and these again, I tried to start them so that they would be exactly the same. Didn't work. Mostly worked. I started the toes at the same, and again, by the time I got to the heel, they started to change a little bit. And the tops aren't quite exactly the same. And I am fine with that. They're clearly a pair. They're matching pretty darn close enough for my taste. One has a red heel, the other has a white heel turn. That's fine. So that's the second pair. So again, West Yorkshire Spinners. This one is Candy Cane. Did I make that one a drop longer? I don't think so. No. One just seemed a little bit longer. They're not. So there we go. Second pair of socks done. So very happy with all of the progress on those, or all the progress. Very happy to have those done. And ready to wear because we're into December now, or we will be tomorrow into December, and Advent will be beginning tomorrow. So yeah, I think my tension is quite a bit looser on one than the other. It's another thing, I need to do them both at the same time, not one of each, and do them the way I did this pair. This pair of pairs. Anyway, so 3 finished objects since last week. I also have not blocked my Go-Go Dynamo shawl. I just didn't have time on Sunday. I showed you it on Saturday, it was finished, but I hadn't blocked it yet. I didn't have time to get that done on Sunday. Then we were heading out of town on Monday, just home now. I probably won't get a chance to block it until maybe Tuesday or Thursday. So I'm back to work this week, so it'll get blocked sooner rather than later. I do want to get it done soon. I think I'll put it on my to-do list for Tuesday. And especially after the hubby got the dining room table all cleared off with his coin collecting stuff, so that I had the table available for blocking, and then I didn't do it. Oops. So 3 completely finished objects. I'm still waiting on getting the blocking done on Go-Go Dynamo, and I have a new cast on, which is fine because it'll be it's an Advent thing, and I'm probably going to get another cast on going this afternoon after I'm done filming. So my cast on that I have right now, and I'll talk about the one I'm probably going to get started with. I'll talk about that one, probably talk about that one at the, or I will, no, I'm not probably going to talk about that. I'll probably cast it on today, but I will talk to you about it before I'm done today. So my cast on is for my Freckled Whimsy self-striping Advent socks, and I have not opened the yarn yet. It's still in the other room packaged up. I'll be opening it tomorrow morning, and I'll show you that tomorrow. But I wanted to have the toes done so that when I open the Advent skein of yarn tomorrow morning, I'm able to cake up the 2 half skeins and start on the first color. So I wanted to have this ready before I got to the 1st of December so I could get started on the socks right away. Because my goal with the Freckled Whimsy Advent socks is the same as I did last year. I want to do a single color each of the days. So on December 1st I'll do the first color, then December 2nd I'll do the second color, and it works out to about roughly 5 rounds of knitting per sock per day. And that's doable. The only time it'll take a little bit, or I might get a little bit backlogged on it, is when I get to the point where I have to do the heel. So I might get a drop behind depending on what day. I'll have to work out the math with how many colors I have and see whether or not see whether or not, I'm kind of hoping that the heel falls on a weekend or a day that I'm not in the office. I'm hoping, because then I'll have a little extra time to work on it. But these, I'll add the first color. I'll be getting back to these and add the first color tomorrow. So those are my Freckled Whimsy 2024 self-striping Advent sock yarn. So I'm excited to get going on those tomorrow morning and see what the colors look like. I'm always so excited to knit those socks. And then what I do is I'll knit my Sorta Shorty socks. So I will knit the 24 colors. Once I get to the end of the 24th color, I will switch and use bare. I'm using bare for the toes, the heels, and whatever part of the cuff I need to do to bring it to the length I like my legs. The last few pair I've done with the Advent self-striping socks, I've had to add about 3 or 5 rounds of bare yarn just to bring it to my 15 rounds of 2x2 ribbing that I like. So I knit all 24 colors up the leg, and then once I'm done with the 24th color, then I'm ready to make, because I buy the 100 gram skein of yarn. Once the 100 gram skein, or once the first pair of socks are done, I still have roughly a little over 50 grams of yarn left, and I have enough yarn to make a second pair of toe up 2 at a time Sorta Shorty socks. And what I do then is I reverse the color order. So the color I started the toes with on the first pair of socks, that color will be the last color at the top of the leg on the second pair of socks. And with the first pair of socks, the last color I do at the top of the leg is going to be the toe of the second pair of socks, or we'll start the toes with the second pair of socks. So the color sequence will go in opposite directions. So they look like 2 different pair of socks. And I can manage to do that where I do the toes, heels, and the top of the cuff in bare. I'm able to get 2 full pair of Sorta Shorty socks out of the 100 gram skein of yarn. And that makes my little heart so happy. I absolutely love being able to do it that way. The other things that I worked on this past week are both living right now in my Fringe Supply. It's not the field bag, I forget what this one's called. Anyway, it's a Fringe Supply bag that I got several years ago. And in here I have my Coziest Memory mitered square cardigan. It will be a cardigan eventually. And I've, for this one, so far I'm using only yarns from my Row 1 Mini subscriptions, and I'm holding the yarn double so that it's a DK weight. It will be a DK weight cardigan. The second one that I made some decent progress, not decent, I made some progress on this past week is my Jelly Roll cardigan. And with that, I'm just using sock weight scrap yarns. Mostly, I think the ones I have in there so far are mostly my own hand-dyed yarn. There's some other scraps in there as well, and I'm going to continue to add more to it, whether I use some of the Row 1 Mini yarns or whether I continue using scraps of my other yarns. Both of them are going to, they're both done double thickness, or double, I'm holding the fingering weight yarn double in each of them, so they're each going to be a DK weight cardigan. And I'm just kind of winging it and making up the pattern as I go. The mitered square one, oops, there's the skein I'm working with, or the little ball of yarn I'm working with right now. And I just started this one, so I'm just going to pop that over there. So here is what I have so far. And I'm not 100% sure I will continue to use this as turn it into a cardigan, or if I will change my mind and make it into a blanket. Stay tuned. I'll figure it out. We'll all figure it out as I go along. So right now I've done it the size that I need to go around my hips, because I don't want it to be a short cardigan. I want it to be a little bit on the longer side. So right now I decided yesterday or last night that I wanted to do it a little bit bigger or a little bit more. So I added 2 more squares. So now I need to add the 2 squares here, and then, oopsie, and then 3 squares from that light blue to the end, so that I have a nice rectangle. And I'll continue adding rows all the way across until it gets to about the distance I want it from hip length to roughly my armpit. And then I'll split the mitered squares so I have a section at the back, and then I'll have a sections that go on either side of the front, and then I'll seam it up at the top of the shoulders and figure out what I'm going to do for sleeves. I'd like to do mitered squares for the sleeves as well. With that, I'll probably start at the armpit or at the shoulders, the arm sleeve, oh my gosh. Whew. I don't know what language I'm speaking here. I'll start the sleeves up here, or it'll probably be a little bit of a drop shoulder. And I'll start at the underarm, and I'll just go around until I have the right number. And then I'll probably seam it up the underside of the arm. And that should work. We'll see. But that's the plan I'm working with now. And then I'll do an applied I-cord border all the way around. And it's going to be like, it'll have a neckline that it's not going to be shaped. I'm not going to use any like half squares to give it any shape. So it's gonna be a boxy neckline, and I'm fine with that. That's fine. So it'll kind of be like this style where it's not going to be tapered. It's just going to close just straight across the top and be straight across the back. We'll see what I think of it once I get farther along with it, or if I decide I'm not happy with how it's turning out, it'll become a blanket. So since I picked this up, this has been hibernating since late spring, early summer. I don't think I had worked on this since about April or May. It was too hot. I just wasn't in the mood for working on it in the summer. So since I worked on it last, I've added, where you see the markers, I added the pink, purple, the blue, and these 2 squares. So I've only added like 5 squares this week, and I'm like happy with how much progress I made. But I have another one starting here, and it's coming along nicely. I still have some ends that need to be woven in, but what I like to do is wait until I have a join in the middle here, and then I will tuck in these tails. So once I have this last row added, then I will go back and I will tuck in all the tails on the joins between. Oh, I've done a few of them. But I'll finish tucking in all the tails on the join between the 2nd and 3rd row. And then once I get the next row done, the 4th row done, then I will tuck in all the tails between the 3rd and 4th. I think my light's really going on me here. I don't have a lot, I just have one more project to show you. And then I just want to talk about Advent knitting, and I'll stop talking. So the other project that I worked on some this past week when I was away is my Jelly Roll cardigan. And I added this last panel here. So this one, I have it at, it's going to be a drop shoulder, quite a drop shoulder. When I'm looking at it like this, it almost seems like it's too large, but I want it to be a little bit oversized. So it's going to be a little bit awkward fitting across the shoulder. It might be a little bit bunchy. I think I'm going to end up with like a drop sleeve that's just going to be quite short. But I'll wait until I have all of it done. So I talked a little bit about this one on a couple of my Whip It Down episodes this past week. So the front, the left-hand front side is done now. So what I'm going to do is when I get started on this again, I will start adding the yarn, or adding the next panel down here. I will work my way up to the point where I want to have the arm start. And then I will just continue doing that panel. I'll come to a certain point, suppose that's here. I'll quit joining it and I will just continue with a second, the next panel will be unattached here. So it'll look like this side. And then I'll continue adding the panels until I get across how wide I want the back to be. And then I will do the last panel on the back. I will do the same thing. I will measure to where I want the armhole to begin. And then I will again separate and then do the 4 panels across the right hand front. And then I have to figure out what I want to do about the sleeves. I'm almost thinking I might want to do the sleeves as just do a bare yarn perhaps, or pick a solid color and just do a garter. Again, the yarn is double thickness. Just do a garter stitch sleeve attaching and just have the sleeves plain and the body striped. I'm thinking that might be what I want to do, but I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of thinking along the lines of what this is probably going to look like is a cardigan style of the sweater boxy. I think, was that a Hohi Locatelli pattern? I can't remember whose pattern. I think it was Hohi Locatelli. But anyway, I'm thinking maybe I'll do it that style where it's got the like the big drop, and then just do the sleeves from just above the elbow down to the wrist. It's going to be a little while before I get across the back and the next front before I have to make that decision. Then I'll do the same thing I was talking about with the mitered squares, and I will seam up the shoulder and do an applied I-cord border on it. I think that's the plan. I think. And so those are all my works in progress and my finished objects from this week. So the other thing I want to get started on, and I mentioned that a little bit at the beginning or earlier when I was talking, I have another advent I haven't oh, excuse me. I have an advent calendar that is 24 mini skeins, fingering weight yarn, and I'll begin opening that tomorrow. It's from Felicity Fibers or Yarn. I'll show you tomorrow. So I'm going to get started on opening that one tomorrow for Advent as well. And I've finally decided I am going to knit the Radvent cardigan by Amba O'Brien. I wanted to do the bubble cardigan by Stephen West, but my concern with that is I wanted to do it with one row of bubbles in Bear and then one row in each of the days from my Advent. My only fear and concern is that I'll need to knit one of the larger sizes, and I'm not sure if the 20-gram mini will be enough to go all the way around for enough rows. And I don't want to get started on that, and then once I've gone past all the increasing portion and get to the largest part of the sweater, then to find out that I'm not going to have enough yarn. So I'm kind of chickening out on doing the bubble cardigan. For now, I desperately want to make that sweater, and I want to make it in that style where each of the stripes are a different color, like alternating with Bear and a stripe and then Bear and a stripe. So what I'm thinking I might do is I might try dyeing or go through my fingering weight yarns that I've dyed myself and pull out and measure out a bunch of colors in make them into a 25-gram mini, and the 25 grams will be enough. The 20, I'm just scared that it won't be quite enough, and I don't want to get that far down the sweater and find out that I don't have enough yarn, because that will not make Karen a happy girl and we don't want that to happen. So what I think I'll do is I think I'm going to either collect 25-gram minis or take a bunch of my scraps and make them into 25-gram minis, and also make my own, like dye some more, and then make that sweater for myself at a later time. So for now, it's going to be Radvent. And what I'm going to do, probably once I've got the editing here done, I'm going to take a skein or a hank of Bear yarn and start the cuffs. And I think with the Radvent, you do each cuff in whatever the contrast color you're using, and then you start one sleeve at whatever your yarn is. It's set for using an Advent calendar. So you do one sleeve, you start at contrast color 1, then 2, then 3, and keep going across. And then the other one you start at 25 or 24, 25, 23, 22, and you work your way down. What I think, I want it to be a little bit more somewhat symmetrical. So what I think I'll do each day is I will take my 20-gram mini, cake it up, and do the 2 sleeves. So I'll do the Bear for each cuff, and then I will do day 1, but I'll do half the amount, like I'll do half the length and not the double that you would do 20 grams. I'll do 10 and 10. And then I'll do day 2, 10 grams and 10 grams. And continue it that way across, so that it doesn't have to be identical. So I'm not going to be like super precise in making sure that each sleeve has the exact same number of rounds. If one's got a little bit more, a little bit less, that's fine. But I want it to be somewhat symmetrical. So that's how I'm planning on working that one out. That's the plan. So once I've got, like I say, once I've got the editing here done, I'm going to cake up a skein of the Bear yarn and get that ready to cast on the 2 cuffs. And then I'm ready to start working on the first color tomorrow, assuming I can get the 2 cuffs done today. That might not happen. So that's my plan. Sorry, I'm getting the sniffles. And other plans coming up. So that's all my knitting stuff for now. It's enough to keep me busy and potentially out of trouble. So what my plans are for the next while is I am going to be doing Vlogmas. So my Whip It Down week, the video that comes out tonight, which will come out just a few hours after this video comes out, that'll be the end of my Whip It Down week. Technically tomorrow is the end of Whip It Down week, but it's also the first day of Advent. So I'm switching to Advent. So my plan for Vlogmas is I am going to film snippets of my day. It'll be much the same style as I did with Vlogtober. But what I'm going to have in there is, it'll be much the same style as I did last year. I will open, in the morning I will film opening each of my Advents, and I will show you how much progress I made on my Freckled Whimsy socks from the previous day. And I will show you the new skein of yarn that came from my 24-day Advent calendar. I'll show you the new color for the day, and then I will show you hopefully progress I made on the Radvent cardigan. I suspect that the Radvent cardigan over time I will get behind. I don't think I'll be able to keep up the pace, especially once it gets to more knitting every day. We'll see. Never say never. We shall see. But that's the plan. I also have a Advent calendar from Rising Tide Fibers, and with that one that includes 4 50-gram skeins of yarn plus a contrasting mini skein for each of those 4. So those I will open each Sunday leading up to Christmas morning. And I probably will not cast any of those on until we get into January or after Christmas. The Freckled Whimsy socks, I'm quite certain I will be able to keep up with those throughout. I might get a little drop behind when I do the heels, but I'll catch up again pretty quickly afterwards. I also have, so I have the 3 yarn Advents. Freckled Whimsy, the 24-day, and then the 4 skeins, 50-gram skeins from Rising Tide Fibers. I also have one that's called Ink Vent. It's by Diamine Inks, and I will be doing a video on that one and posting it on my Karen Designs channel. And I will show you, so I'm going to open up the inks each of the day throughout Advent, and I'll do a swatch in a little notebook that I have, and I'll post the video of each of those on my other channel, but I will show you what the ink looks like each day. So you can I'm just going to show a quick snippet of that, because I'm not sure if many of my viewers are interested in stationery and fountain pens and ink and that kind of stuff. So I will show you though a quick snippet of that. And then the rest of the time I will just show you just little snips of things we're doing during the day. We're going out for a few dinners. There's a Christmas tree lighting in the town where my husband works. We'll go check that out. I'll also take you along. We're going to go, there's like a Christmas tree display in one of the buildings just down the street from us, so we'll go check that out. So I'll take you along on different things we do during the holiday season. We don't get out and do a whole ton of things, but I will take you along with me whenever we do things. So that's the plan. And I will be filming off and on during the day, and I will post each of my Vlogmas videos at the end of the day, the same way type of thing I've been doing with my Whip It Down week. So they'll come out anywhere between 7 and 11 in the evening, depending on when I get home and get the editing done on them. So that's the plan. I think that's everything. I think I might have run out of things to talk about. So hubby should be home. He ran into work to get a couple things done before church tomorrow morning. And once he gets home, we're going to have Thanksgiving meal leftovers for supper tonight. So that'll be quick and easy to do. Just dish it up and throw it in the microwave for a couple minutes and Bob's your uncle. We're eating. So on that note, I will let you go. I'll get the editing done here and I will see you twice today. And I will also be posting a regular podcast probably each day or each week on Saturdays as I normally do, just to have a place where I can just show everything, kind of like summarize all my knitting each week in one place, so that those of you that might not be interested in or don't have the time or the energy to watch Vlogmas every day, you can just come in on Saturday and watch the video on Saturday. It'll be a regular podcast episode like today has been. So, but with more light, because I'll hopefully be able to do them earlier in the day. Because it's getting dark out now. It's almost 5 o'clock that I'm trying to shut up, trying to stop talking. Anyway, on that note, I'm for real gonna let you go, and I will see you guys again very soon. Alrighty, bye everyone.